Hey everyone,
Hi.
what's going on, Steve?
What's going on, man?
Podcast 7, baby.
Podcast 7. We want to start with a quote.
Yeah, let's do it. So today we're talking about types of motivation and how to stay motivated. And the quote that really resonated with both of us is by Socrates, and it goes something like this: "It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength which his body is capable of."
Yeah, and this quote really resonated with me personally, just because a lot of people asked me early on when I started working out, why are you doing it? Is it for vain reasons? Are you training for something? But I think this is a good reason for anyone to want to stay fit and build their body, because this is a universal truth to everybody.
Facts.
So.
And to go off on that, our roommates are running a 4x4x48, which if you don't know what that is, it's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, which is 48 miles in total. I think they're doing 50, which is just insane. So shout out our roommates. It's Neil, Imig, Bryce, and our friend Tom are all running this just for the hell of it, just to push themselves. And this is a great interlude to our topic of motivation.
They embody this quote very well. They're not training for a marathon. They're not training for a race. They just, out of the blue, they're like, let's run 50 miles in 48 hours.
Yep.
No sleep. Just
for the heck of it.
Just to see what their body's capable of.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Right.
So a big question we have is, what separates the people who stick with the grueling, dirty process of greatness compared to everyone else? And throughout our time in one of our entrepreneurship classes, we've had some amazing speakers, and one of our amazing speakers talked about he was with this extremely successful person in this booth at some huge sporting event. I can't remember what it was, and he wouldn't name the person, but he asked him, "So what is it? Daddy issues, learning disability, or near-death experience?" And the guy was like, "Wait, what? What does that mean?" And he goes, "Daddy issues, learning disability, or near-death experience." And he's referring to his motivational factor for becoming so successful, for being so rich, for constantly pushing himself. And he looks at him and goes, "Daddy issues and near-death experience." So it's just these external motivations that will constantly push you to do the dirty work. And this is something he defined and chalked it up to.
Right. So obviously the three things are pretty arbitrary, but it relates to the point of how oftentimes a lot of these super successful billionaires and whatnot have some sort of really extreme circumstance where, like, maybe their father figure wasn't present, or their business almost got bankrupt, that pushed them to be more motivated than the average person.
Yeah.
An external factor that was beyond the average experience pushed them to achieve beyond average results.
It was kind of funny. One of the questions during that lecture, I remember, was a student asked, if you don't have these external factors to motivate you, how can you seek this kind of motivation?
Right.
And I don't remember the answer.
And I think I remember a little bit. Barnard Hayes, the billionaire, he talked about how if you don't have daddy issues, learning disabilities, or near-death experiences, you can sort of artificially manufacture an external stress in your life. And I don't necessarily agree with that to the full extent, but it is true. You can think of circumstances in your life where you didn't live up to the man that you wanted to be, and then use that to reinforce yourself every day, to motivate yourself. So I don't know. You can create some sort of stress or urgency in your life by thinking back on what you need to achieve and what you've done in the past.
I think that's called a healthy paranoia.
Stress.
You need you stress. You need a healthy paranoia to constantly be pushing yourself and be great. But that brings me to a story I want to talk about a little company everyone knows called IKEA, and the founding of IKEA. And it started with a young boy who would go door to door selling Matchbox sticks to like the lighters. Like, he would go sell this to these random houses, and he would miss spending time with his friends. When everyone else was having fun, he was going door to door selling matchboxes. And 15 years later, whatever it was, he has a billion-dollar company, a multi-billion-dollar company, and it all started from selling Matchbox sticks. And it really inspired me, because everyone wants to start the next IKEA, but no one wants to sell Matchbox sticks door to door. No one wants to do the dirty, grueling work it takes to build IKEA, but everyone wants to skip that process. So how can we analyze this story and figure out what motivated him to do the dirty, grueling work of selling Matchbox sticks every single day and skipping out on the fun with his friends? And I was researching it, and he came from a very poor upbringing, and it was his mom. His mom was dirt broke. He's seeing his mom every day struggle. So this external motivation, and just I gotta figure this out for my mother. I gotta figure this out for myself and for our family. at a very young age, that just really drives you and gets you going, puts a fire in your ass. So that's what got him. And our topic today is
How to stay motivated.
and so how we stay motivated
Right.
specifically.
Yeah.
So Steve, what are some tools or tactics you use to get yourself going when you don't feel as motivated to do your work?
Right. So I actually have like a notes app in my phone, and I have this note called emergency toolkit. So basically when I'm not feeling motivated, there's a series of like steps that I take. So first, assess why are you not feeling motivated right now? So the first thing is, clean my bedroom. That's one of the first things I always do when I feel motivated.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, people say your bedroom is a reflection of your mind. If you have a messy room, you have a messy mind. So the first step, I clean my room. And the second is I assess what are the tasks I need to finish right now. Is there an essay impending that I haven't done? Are there bills on my credit card that I haven't paid or whatnot? Once I've accomplished cleaning the room, completing all the tasks, now my mind is free to think, to really to be in tune with like how I'm feeling and what are the reasons I'm not doing the things I'm doing. And a lot of times, just by cleaning the room and completing the task, I feel rejuvenated, refreshed, ready to go and go work out and whatnot.
Right. I mean, you're clearing your anxieties.
Exactly.
That's a big one. Is anxiety is the fear of what you haven't done yet, the future.
Right.
So by doing the little things like organizing your room and checking some to-do lists, you're already relieving some of these like this fear of the future and failure. So I mean,
exactly.
I love that. That's a really cool tool.
Exactly, because not being motivated ties to procrastination, right? And procrastination oftentimes is just the fear of, in your head, what is a large and impending task or a series of large impending tasks. But when you start doing the simple things like cleaning a room or, going to the grocery store, doing the things that you need to be doing, you realize they're not big tasks. And you start crossing them off the list and you realize, well, I'm actually very capable of accomplishing these tasks. And now I'm ready to take on the next big
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
So what would you say your purpose or your why is for the overarching tasks you're trying to accomplish in life? It's a huge question.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've talked about this in an earlier podcast, but a big thing for me is in general to minimize regret. Right.
Yeah.
That's my kind of my definition of success. So that applies to a lot of things. A regret of mine of not, working out and achieving what my body's capable of.
Yeah.
That would be regretful. That's what Socrates talks about, right?
Right.
If I'm not working hard enough in school and getting the job I can get or building the business I can, build or achieving the skill that I can achieve, there's regret because, whether you're religious or not, you believe in, this life is God given. I believe everything's a miracle, whatever, like this life, at least.
It's magic.
It's magic. Whether you're religious or not, you should
magic.
see how everything in life.
Ridiculous.
It's pretty crazy how we're all here on this planet, and then you're given a series of, I don't know, abilities or potentials that it's up to you to achieve.
And it's a shame for you not to reach those.
It's a huge shame. That might be the biggest shame there ever is.
That goes into mine is being uncomfortable isn't a choice. You can choose. It's hard to put in the work and be persistent, but it's also hard to be dirt broke and not have anything. So you get to choose what your kind of heart is and what your uncomfortable is. Do you want to be uncomfortable with the process of doing something grueling and dedicated to something, or do you want to suffer with the pain and uncomfortability of being broke, of not being enough, of not reaching your full potential? So figure out what your heart is. And for me, I always want to choose the heart of the process of the doing. So I mean, it might seem really nice to just lay in bed and not go to the gym, or lay in bed and not do your homework or procrastinate. But on the other end of that, it's going to hurt a lot more than if you just did it. So whenever I'm feeling unmotivated, I just constantly tell myself, like, you're wasting your potential. Like, God gave you all these gifts and all these strengths, and you're not living it up. And that sometimes is overbearing because I'm just constantly like going to war myself with, oh, you're not doing enough. You're never doing enough. So it's hard to find a balance. But my definition of success that we talked about in previous episodes was reaching this potential, maximizing your full capabilities. And what does that look like? I mean, it depends on each person, but I know like what I can reach, and I don't have limits. I don't have a roof. I don't really have a standard of what I want to do. It's always going. So, I mean, that's what it is. And it goes into the question, Steve, you're about to ask is, how do you want to define your legacy?
Yeah. This is one of the questions that I put in before we started this podcast. And I think it's huge to think about this question because when you look at life as a collective, like at the end of your life, you will have some sort of lasting legacy, hopefully. And that's the driving factor for a lot of your goals and motivations in life. So I think it's important for everyone to think about, what motivates you and what do you want that legacy to be. So first you should think about the legacy you want to leave, and then think what motivates you to do that, and then eventually build those habits and daily discipline to do that.
Yeah.
So,
and as corny as it is, we have one life to do this. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, do you want to live your one life doing nothing and being complacent and average, or do you want to live your one life inspiring others, doing what you're capable of doing, and reaching your full potential at whatever that is, and changing the world for the better? And that, I mean, it's up to you really every day when you make these small decisions, and you want to structure your habits and build this legacy.
yeah, it's like that quote that I wrote down. The pain of regret is much worse than the pain of discipline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
And ultimately, your why has to be greater than your excuses. It has to be greater than your desires to be average.
mm-hmm.
Has to be greater than the bare minimum, than the standard you set for yourself. Your commitment needs to be higher than what you think it is, pretty much always.
Mm-hmm.
So keep raising the standard for yourself. Don't be complacent. Don't be average. It's just, you're never going to reach your full potential go back to environment, by surrounding yourself with people that are average. Surround yourself with people who are better than you. Someone's always smarter than you. Someone's always stronger than you. Someone's always working harder in something. Surround yourself with people like that. Be the worst in the room. It's okay. It's okay to be like that. It's going to push you. It's going to raise the bar for you. And you're going to grow a lot more from it than you ever think you would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a couple of legacy points.
Yeah.
What are some impacts of your legacy you think you're going to be creating, or you're currently creating?
Well, yeah, I've been thinking about this week actually, just because I've been thinking about this podcast and like how I want to define my legacy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple of points. Well, there's a couple of things I want to be known for. Like, I want to be known for someone who, not necessarily obsessed with my work. I want to have balance, but I want to be known for someone that works hard. I'd want to be known for someone who goes through life expediently. I'd want to be the lottery ticket winner that sits on the couch all day and cruises through life, even if some luck strikes me.
Yeah.
Right. So if I start a company and it goes, it gets acquired and I make a lot of money, I'm not going to stop there, because I want to be known for someone that works hard.
Yeah.
And then probably building a good family. I want to raise kids that have great values and will, hopefully inspire people with their work and their character.
Yeah.
Based on how I raise them.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think
What about you? What do you want your...
when people think about legacy, they think about like, what's the biggest number of people I can impact? And I think that's the incorrect way to look at it. I think it should be the quality of who you've impacted. So if you really touch 5 people and change their lives, and it doesn't matter if it's 5,000 or 5, like it's beautiful. That's what you've done. Like you're living your legacy to that. So for me, I just want to inspire the people around me, inspire myself to, I don't know, be more loving, chase better, chase harder, work harder, show my values, be a disciple. All these things are part of my identity.
Have an impact on your immediate environment.
Yeah.
And the people around you.
Yeah.
To show them love and to show them...
That's success. That's the net win. That's the winning goal. You know what I mean? So on that note, I think we can end by asking you what you want your legacy to be, what motivates you to achieve that, and how you want to build these daily habits to create that and structure it.
Yeah, because ultimately it's the first understanding what you want is the legacy, and understanding what are your motivations for that's important, and then realizing that you need those daily habits and discipline ultimately to slowly build towards that. And with those, it will come.
Absolutely. See, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Couple things you're grateful for.
My parents, and my family. They've been the older I get, the more I realize they've been the biggest supporter of me.
And they're always commenting, "We love you guys."
Exactly.
Same with my aunt. She's always the biggest supporter of our podcast.
Yeah.
Super grateful.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
We have great friends, great environment. Everyone here is super motivated. Glad to be.
Shout out the roommates for running that challenge. It's insane.
Exactly. So
if you're still listening to it, we appreciate you as well. We're super grateful as well.
Exactly.
So that's on that note. Have a great week.
Let's kill it.